This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot. This is why hey, I'm hot cause I'm fly. You ain't cause you not. This is why I'm hot cause you ain't cause you not.
What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video. From music to technology, our subject of study is one whose story is captivating and shows a fundamental level of doggedness. Popularly known by his stage name Mims, Sean Maurice Mims is an American rapper, songwriter, and record executive. He was born into a family of Jamaican-American descent in the early 80s and spent most of his formative years in Washington Heights. Growing up in the Washington Heights neighborhood influenced his zeal to enter the music world and ultimately his music style. Aside from music, the community where he grew up taught him about business and how to make money, which later would help him venture into corporate America. Mims grew up around Harlem music and was inspired by it, and some of his major influences are Nas, Dr. Dre, Nelly, Jay-Z, LL Cool J, and Snoop Dogg. At a very young age, Mims was taken aback by tragedy. He lost his father and his mother to the icy hands of death within the space of a few years. His loss fueled his fire to make it. He went into music at the tender age of 16 and juggled it with high school. Even though Mims started experimenting with music while in school, he never let that affect his grades. He remained an A-grade student throughout his high school years. After high school, he briefly attended technical remedial college before entirely focusing on his music career. Immediately after he graduated from Westbury High School, he started spending time with legend Wyclef Jean. Over time, Mims' career took off. However, as of late, it's clear that he's not as active as he used to be. So the question is, what happened to Mims?
Keep you late, Christian Louboutin. Bitch roller coaster ride, she wanna do it again, but she takes cause she knows I'm in love with the dope. Plus the ride that we own is too emotional.
Over time, Mims' career took off. One of the first ever singles Mims released was called Love, and another one called I Made a Vow. These songs came out around the year 2000. Around the time, he used to call himself Mr. Mims, an acronym for Music is My Savior. He was also featured on a Canadian compilation entitled Private Party Collector's Edition Volume 2, done by Baby Blue and Sand Crew. Mims was starting to build a name for himself. Another song Mims featured on was called Love 'Em All, where he performed alongside Choclair.
We love them all, you know that we love them all. Now people say they wanna go and bring it to the streets, realize that it's too far.
Baby Blue Sand Crew produced the record. These features started building up his popularity in Canada. Everybody was starting to notice his sound and kept asking who the rapper was. As a result of the growing recognition he was getting, he contacted a production crew named Blackout Movement. Now around 2002, Mims wrote a song called I Did You Wrong and played it for them.
Look, I hit it once right after I dissed her. Then after that, tried rap to a sister.
At this point, he was working with the group, but not signed to them. Without his permission, the production crew produced the song and put it on a vinyl CD. When Mims found out, he was livid. However, when the song came out, it received massive airplay and put Mims in another category, one that was on the rise. After releasing I Did You Wrong, Mims managed to achieve a lot of buzz and was ready to put the next single out. Mims was not sleeping on his music career. In fact, he was taking it very seriously. Armed with the recognition he was receiving, it was finally time for Mims to release another single, and when he did so, it was massive.
I'm hot. This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot.
But keep in mind that this single came out years after he released I Did You Wrong. Mims started recording This Is Why I'm Hot around 2006 with Blackout Movement on the production helm. As mentioned earlier, when the song came out, it made huge waves and instantly became the sensation at the time. Local radio was starting to pick the song up, including the famous New York-based radio station Power 105.1. After receiving a little bit of airplay, it managed to make it to number 23 on the Billboard Hot 100. Initially, its success was very moderate, something any upcoming artist would be excited about. But this was not the end for Mims. Due to the increased attention the song was getting, the song shot to the number 1 position on the Billboard Hot 100. At this point, it was official. Mims had made it. This Is Why I'm Hot wasn't just a national success. It managed to make huge waves overseas. It was spotted on so many international charts, including Canada, France, Germany, and Switzerland amongst others. After that, Mims became an artist that every label wanted a piece of. Mims was truly hot at the time, and the labels knew this. This led to a multi-million-dollar bidding war. After much consideration, Mims decided to stick with EMI and Capitol Records to release his debut album called Music Is My Savior, but we'll get into that in a second. But let's talk about the single This Is Why I'm Hot for a moment. Without trying, Mims made one of the most prophetic lines about the future state of hip-hop by being braggadocious, once claiming, "I can sell a mill by saying nothing on a track." This line applies to a lot of music nowadays, more specifically to mumble rap. It's no secret that artists nowadays don't have to say much on a record to move units. Even though rappers like Young Thug, Future, and Lil Yachty are able to go platinum, most of the public has trouble understanding a full verse from each of these artists.
All the sound the same.
A lot of times it sounds like gibberish, however it's hot now and that's what's selling, so a lot of artists are trying to emulate this formula. As mentioned earlier, This Is Why I'm Hot made it to the top spot on the Billboard Hot 100, proving the fact that Mims could sell a million records without saying much. However, despite the song's impact, his album sales did not match the success of the record. The problem is, Mims came up in the ringtone era of rap. A lot of artists back then were simply trying to make ringtones instead of focusing on creating a true body of work that actually stands the test of time. Because the artists would spend a lot of time creating a single that was hot for the radio, their albums were usually full of radio-friendly songs, and this in the end diminished the quality of their albums. Now around 2007, Mims released his debut album called Music Is My Savior. When the album came out, it sold 78,000 copies in the first week and peaked at number 4 in the Billboard 200 chart. Now if you remember the buzz that Mims had back then and compare it to his album sales, it just does not equate. To put it bluntly, the album was a massive flop. Overall, the album wasn't very bad. It had some hits and a lot of misses. The bulk of the album saw production from DJ Blackout and his crew Blackout Movement. Music Is My Savior had quite a few memorable appearances. Bun B made an appearance, Bad Seed, LaToya Luckett, Cham, reggae artist Junior Reid, Jay Holiday, and Rashida were also on the project. Music Is My Savior was so sensational that Lil Wayne created a remix for his Drought 3 mixtape and made it the intro for his project.
Rasta them king of the jungle, dreadlocks swing down my back like Rapunzel.
Music Is My Savior has 17 tracks, including notable ones like his breakout single called This Is Why I'm Hot, Like This, and Just Like That. Like This featured Mims' fellow label mate, Rashida. It took the 32nd spot on the Billboard Hot 100 and also made it to other charts like the pop charts and the US Billboard R&B Hip Hop Singles chart. When Like This dropped, it didn't have the same impact that This Is Why I'm Hot had. It managed to get some radio spins and managed to make it into the clubs and onto the charts. However, like most artists' second singles, it paled in comparison to the first. Mims released another single called Just Like That.
If good girls get down on the floor, tell me how low will a bad girl go?
I personally love this song. It's hard, a little bit introspective, and different from his other singles. After releasing his debut album and enjoying the success of it, it was finally time for Mims to release another album. This time he went into the studio and cooked up another album called Guilt. The album came out around 2009, 2 years after his official debut release. When the album came out, it was a massive flop. The album debuted at number 53 on the Billboard 200 and sold about 12,000 copies in the first week alone. Clearly, Mims was not doing something right. Notable singles from the album include Move If You Wanna, and Love Roller Coaster.
Dealing with me is like a ride, but when the ride is moving, keep your hands inside.
The single Move was the first single off the album. It was released around 2008 and attained the 63rd spot on the US Billboard Hot 100 Singles chart. It also made it to other charts like the US Billboard Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart and the Hot Rap Singles chart. Even though Move was nothing like This Is Why I'm Hot, it was somewhat catchy. I liked the song. However, the masses did not think it compared to his previous single, This Is Why I'm Hot. The second single off the album was called Love Roller Coaster, featuring LaToya Luckett. Now let's go back to Move for a second. When this single came out, the song received a major backlash because people thought that Mims sounded like another rapper, more specifically Gillie da Kid. After this, Mims went on to clear the air, stating that he had no problem with Gillie da Kid and was not trying to spark up beef. Later on, Mims and Gillie da Kid partnered together to release the remix of Move If You Wanna.
Homie, I'm the president, governor, and maker. I control everything like a dictator.
Now after Mims released his second album, Mims stopped releasing studio albums. He revealed later that he had problems with the label and the label was not compensating him well. According to Mims, the single This Is Why I'm Hot made $15 million for the label, but when he looked at his paycheck, he was disappointed by the amount that he saw. After he released his first album and then his second one, he felt like he couldn't do it anymore and decided to opt out. He refused to work with any label again after that and ventured into something completely different from recording songs and going to the studio. Now another reason why Mims is not hot today, no pun intended, is because Mims failed to release songs that resonated with his core fan base. Now after leaving the mainstream music scene, Mims decided to partner with Eric Mendelsohn and producer DJ Blackout to create an app called Recordgram. The app came out around 2016 with the idea of harnessing the smartphone to make a recording studio environment. The aim, according to Mims, was to give the power back to the producers and the artists again. On the app, beat makers can upload beats and give them out to aspiring artists for about $5 a piece. If any collaboration arises between the artist and the producer on the app, and it turns out to be a hit, the app pays both sides their dividends. During an interview following a music tech summit, Mims said, "Instead of artists paying so much for studio sessions, this app will create a sort of recording environment for them." Now around 2018, the app Recordgram won countless awards, which hit every major A-list publication and changed its name from Recordgram to Creator App. Mims can be found on Instagram and Twitter with the handle @MimsLife. In conclusion, Mims benefited from the ringtone era of rap and managed to create a #1 hit in the process. His debut album did not do amazing numbers, however despite the flop, people still bump This Is Why I'm Hot to this day. Lately, Mims isn't too concerned with making new music, as he has other business ventures that he's working on. Mims gets about 500k monthly listeners on Spotify, and his most popular songs on the platform are This Is Why I'm Hot, Like This, and Move. That's it for me, man. It's your boy Ali. What happened to Mims in your opinion? Let me know down below. If you have a video request, be sure to let me know as well. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.